Ever wonder what Elvis treasures are hiding in plain sight? Did you know the King left behind live recordings that even die-hard fans might have missed? Number 12. Polk Salad Annie, Madison Square Garden, 1972. Was Elvis nervous about performing in New York City? You bet he was. The King had conquered just about every venue in America, but Madison Square Garden represented a whole new challenge. This was the media capital of the world, and Elvis hadn't performed in New York since his controversial television appearances in the 1950s. When Elvis took the stage at Madison Square Garden in June 1972, he had something to prove. While most fans remember the Elvis as recorded at Madison Square Garden album, they often overlook his ferocious performance of Polk Salad Annie from these shows. The track appears on later releases and compilations, but doesn't get the attention it deserves. During this performance, Elvis transforms from the glitzy jumpsuit-wearing superstar into the Mississippi boy with deep Southern roots. He introduces the song with a lengthy, humorous monologue about polk salad being a Southern staple, setting up the gritty performance to follow. When the band kicks in, Elvis delivers one of his most energetic vocal performances of the 1970s. His karate moves intensify throughout the song, and by the end he's growling, "Polk," with such force that you can practically see him dropping to his knees on stage. The MSG Band, featuring guitarist James Burton, bassist Jerry Sheff, and drummer Ronnie Tutt, drives the performance with funk-inspired precision that rivaled the best rhythm sections in rock music. What makes this performance special is how Elvis reclaims his rebellious image for the sophisticated New York audience. He wasn't just the guy in the white jumpsuit singing ballads. He could still rock with raw energy that connected to his revolutionary 1950s persona. The New York critics, who had dismissed him years earlier, were forced to acknowledge his power as a live performer. Number 11. Reconsider Baby, Las Vegas, August 1969. Can a pop singer really sing the blues? Elvis proved he could during his 1969 comeback in Las Vegas, while fans celebrate his return to live. Performing with the famous Elvis, That's the Way It Is documentary and soundtrack. Many overlook his stunning performance of Reconsider Baby from his August 1969 shows at the International Hotel. This bluesy, though fulsome, cover Shankus Elvis at his most authentic. Far from the movie soundtrack fluff he had been recording, this performance reveals his deep connection to blues music. Elvis first recorded Reconsider Baby in 1960 for his Elvis Is Back album following his Army discharge, but this live version takes the song to new emotional heights. What makes this performance special is Elvis's uninhibited vocal approach. He moans, shouts, and digs deep into his lower register, showing remarkable control and emotional expression. The live recording captures saxophonist Butch Randolph delivering a blazing solo that perfectly complements Elvis's intensity. This performance occurred during Elvis's initial return to live performing after years of making movies. The excitement in his voice is palpable. He sounds liberated finally, able to perform the music he truly loved for an audience again. The band, newly assembled for these shows and later nicknamed the TCB Band, follows his every move with remarkable precision despite having limited rehearsal time together. While casual fans might know Elvis for Suspicious Minds or In the Ghetto from this era, Reconsider Baby reveals a deeper, artistic side of the King. It connects directly to his earliest musical influences and reminds listeners that beneath the jumpsuits and showbiz glitz was a singer with an extraordinary understanding of American roots music. Number 10. An American Trion, Honolulu, 1973. How do you capture the complexity of America in a single song? Elvis accomplished this feat with his powerful rendition of An American Trion during his Aloha from Hawaii concert in January 1973. While the concert itself was a landmark event, the first global satellite broadcast by a solo entertainer, this particular performance often gets overshadowed by hits like Burning Love and Suspicious Minds from the same show. An American Trion combines three 19th century psalms: Dixie, an unofficial Confederate anthem, the battle hymn of the Republic, associated with the Union during the Civil War, and the spiritual, All My Trials. Mickey Newbury created this arrangement, but Elvis transformed it into something monumental. The Honolulu performance begins with Elvis's hushed, almost reverent delivery of the opening lines from Dixie. The International Hotel Orchestra provides subtle backing as tension builds gradually through the arrangement. When Elvis transitions to the battle hymn of the Republic, his voice soars with patriotic fervor. The climactic high note on his Truth is Marching On showcases Elvis's remarkable vocal power, sending chills through the audience. What makes this performance especially significant is its global context. Broadcast to countries across Asia and later Europe, this was Elvis presenting a complex American musical tapestry to the world. In the midst of the Vietnam War and domestic political turmoil, Elvis offered this musical reconciliation of America's divided heritage. The performance also demonstrated Elvis's understanding of theatrical staging. As he delivers the song's emotional climax, cameras capture him from below, creating an iconic silhouette against the stage lighting. His American Eagle jumpsuit reinforces the patriotic theme without becoming kitsch. While music critics sometimes dismiss Elvis's 1970s work as overblown, this performance demonstrates his artistic ambition and vocal mastery. Few performers could have delivered this medley with the gravitas and sincerity Elvis brings to it. Number 9. Trying to Get to You, NBC TV Special, 1968. Can a single song revitalize a career? When Elvis sat down in tight black leather for the informal jam sessions segment of his 1968 NBC television special, later known as the '68 Comeback Special, something magical happened during Trying to Get to You. While many fans remember the special for If I Can Dream, or the leather-clad rock segments, this relatively obscure performance captures Elvis at his most authentic. Originally recorded by Elvis in 1955 for Sun Records, this song represents his earliest rock and roll days. The 1968 version transforms from a nostalgic callback into something urgently contemporary. What makes this performance extraordinary is its spontaneity. Elvis, surrounded by his original bandmates Scotty Moore and DJ Fontana, begins casually but becomes increasingly passionate. Midway through the song, something clicks and Elvis becomes fully immersed. His voice builds to an explosive climax that wasn't planned or rehearsed. It's pure emotional expression. The intimate setting allows viewers to witness Elvis's genuine reactions. When he hits a particularly impressive note, a smile of satisfaction flashes across his face, a rare moment of an artist appreciating his own abilities without any pretense. His gospel-influenced vocal runs demonstrate his extraordinary technical skill while maintaining raw emotional power. Director Steve Binder captured something special by keeping cameras rolling during these informal sessions. The close-up shots reveal Elvis's facial expressions and the sweat beading on his forehead as he pushes his voice to its limits. When Elvis finishes the song, his expression shows both exhaustion and exhilaration. This performance marked Elvis's reconnection with his musical roots after years of making formulaic movies. The audience reaction visible in the footage confirms that the connection between Elvis and his fans remained powerful, despite years away from live performing. Perhaps most importantly, this rendition showed Elvis himself that he could still deliver the goods when it mattered. Number 8. How Great Thou Art. Memphis, 1974. Can a secular rock star deliver a religious experience? Elvis proved he could, with his extraordinary performance of How Great Thou Art during a 1974 concert in his hometown of Memphis, Tennessee. While Elvis's gospel recordings earned him 3 Grammy Awards, this particular live version demonstrates why his spiritual music was more than a side project. It was central to understanding his artistic identity. Recorded during a 5-show run at the Mid-South Coliseum in March 1974, this performance captures Elvis's strong voice, despite the health problems that were beginning to affect him. The recording first appeared on an official release in the 1980s after Elvis's death, which explains why many fans overlook this powerful moment. What makes this rendition special is its emotional authenticity. Growing up in Mississippi and Tennessee, Elvis absorbed gospel music in Pentecostal churches long before he became famous. When he sings, "How Great Thou Art," there's no separation between the performer and the material. He believes every word. The performance builds from a restrained beginning to an astonishing vocal climax. Elvis's voice soars on the chorus with operatic power, but maintains the soulful inflections of Southern gospel tradition. His backup singers, J.D. Sumner and the Stamps Quartet, provide rich harmonic support, creating a sound that fills the arena with revival-like intensity. Elvis delivers the final chorus with such vocal force that the audience erupts in applause before he's even finished. After the song concludes, he can be heard saying, "Oh my, 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 my," as if even he's surprised by the emotional power of what just occurred. This performance matters because it demonstrates Elvis's artistic range at a time when critics often dismissed him as merely a nostalgia act. While he certainly wasn't in his physical prime by 1974, his vocal abilities remained extraordinarily powerful, particularly when performing the gospel music that meant so much to him personally. Number 7. Unchained Melody. Rapid City, 1977. How does an artist create beauty, even as his health fails? Elvis Presley's performance of Unchained Melody in Rapid City, South Dakota on June 21, 1977, answers this question with heartbreaking clarity. This performance, captured just weeks before Elvis's death, reveals both his physical struggles and his enduring vocal gifts. Most casual fans know Unchained Melody from the version released after Elvis's death, which became a posthumous hit. However, the specific Rapid City performance deserves special attention for what it reveals about Elvis's final days on stage. The setting is poignant. Elvis, visibly overweight and perspiring heavily under the stage lights, chooses to sit at the piano rather than stand. This unusual staging wasn't planned. Elvis apparently felt unable to deliver the song standing up. Yet what begins as an accommodation to his physical limitations transforms into one of his most emotionally raw performances. Elvis's hands tremble slightly on the piano keys as he begins with halting chords. He's not an accomplished pianist, but the imperfection adds vulnerability to the performance. When he begins to sing, his voice initially sounds worn, with a quiver that wasn't present in earlier years. But as the song progresses, something remarkable happens. On the climactic notes, Elvis summons vocal power that seems impossible, given his physical condition. His voice soars with operatic intensity on "I Need Your Love," holding the high note with surprising strength and control. The contrast between his fragile physical appearance and the mighty voice that emerges creates an almost spiritual experience for the audience. The performance was filmed for the CBS television special Elvis in Concert, which aired after his death. The footage is sometimes difficult to watch, as Elvis's health problems are clearly evident. Yet this very rawness makes the performance uniquely powerful. There's no artifice, just an artist giving everything he has despite overwhelming personal challenges. What makes this overlooked performance so significant is that it captures Elvis's enduring artistic commitment even as his body was failing him. When he reaches the song's emotional climax, we witness not just a singer performing a ballad, but an artist transcending physical limitations through sheer will and musical passion. Number 6. Steamroller Blues, Honolulu, 1973. Can Elvis perform contemporary blues rock credibly? His blistering take on James Taylor's Steamroller Blues during the Aloha from Hawaii concert in January 1973 proves he could handle modern material with conviction. While this global satellite broadcast is among Elvis's most watched performances, this particular song is often overshadowed by his bigger hits from the same show. Elvis transforms Taylor's tongue-in-cheek blues parody into a genuine powerhouse blues performance. Where Taylor's original had an ironic, self-aware quality, Elvis plays it completely straight, turning the song into a showcase for his blues credentials. The result is a performance that connects his 1970s persona to his earliest blues influences. What makes this rendition special is Elvis's vocal approach. He growls, shouts, and ad-libs with remarkable freedom, pushing his voice into its roughest territories. When he delivers the line, "I'm a demolition derby baby," with a gritty shout, he sounds genuinely dangerous, a quality that had sometimes been smoothed away in his more mainstream recordings. The band arrangement elevates the performance further. James Burton's stinging guitar licks trade phrases with Elvis's vocals in classic blues, call and response fashion. The horn section, rarely featured so prominently in Elvis's live shows of this period, adds punchy accents that give the song a contemporary edge, connecting Elvis to the funk and R&B sounds dominant in early 1970s music. This performance reached an estimated billion viewers worldwide, making it perhaps the most globally exposed blues performance in history. For international audiences who might have known Elvis primarily for ballads and rock standards, Steamroller Blues offered a glimpse of his musical versatility and connection to American blues traditions. Released as a single after the concert, this version of Steamroller Blues reached the Billboard Top 20, proving Elvis could still deliver commercially viable performances of contemporary material. The recording stands as evidence that even in the jumpsuit era, Elvis remained connected to the blues foundations that had shaped his earliest music. Number 5. You've Lost That Lovin' Feelin', Las Vegas, August 1970. How do you make a well-known song sound fresh and personal? Elvis demonstrated this skill with his emotionally charged performance of "You've Lost That Lovin' Feelin'" during his August 1970 Las Vegas engagement. This rendition, captured for the documentary That's the Way It Is, often gets overlooked in discussions of Elvis's finest live performances. The Righteous Brothers' original version of this Phil Spector-produced classic was already iconic, making Elvis's decision to tackle it rather bold. Instead of trying to replicate the wall of sound production, Elvis strips the arrangement down to showcase the song's emotional core. What makes this performance remarkable is its pacing. Elvis begins with a hushed, almost whispered delivery of the opening lines. The band, following his lead, maintains this restrained approach until the chorus, where Elvis gradually increases both volume and intensity. By the song's bridge, he's fully unleashed his voice, bringing an almost operatic quality to lines like, "Baby, baby, I'd get down on my knees for you." The performance benefits from the intimate setting of the International Hotel showroom. Elvis makes direct eye contact with audience members, creating the impression that he's singing directly to individuals rather than performing a well-rehearsed number. His physical gestures, a hand reaching out, subtle facial expressions, enhance the song's theme of desperate emotional connection. This performance came during Elvis's artistic peak as a live performer. After his 1969 comeback shows, and before health problems began affecting his performing abilities, this 1970 engagement captured Elvis at his most confident and vocally powerful. His interpretation demonstrates remarkable maturity. At 35, he brought lived experience to the song's themes of fading passion and emotional disconnect. Director Dennis Sanders wisely included this performance in the documentary, recognizing that it took a different side of Elvis than the more upbeat, energetic numbers that dominated his shows. For audiences who might have thought of Elvis primarily as a rock and roll singer, this performance revealed his gifts as an interpretive vocalist who could find new emotional depths in familiar material. Number 4. Tomorrow is a Long Time. NBC TV Special, 1968. Did Elvis understand folk music? His tender performance of Bob Dylan's Tomorrow is a Long Time during the production of his 1968 NBC television special suggests he had a deep appreciation for the genre. Though this performance wasn't included in the broadcast version of the special, it was recorded during the sessions and later released on compilations. Elvis first recorded this Dylan composition in 1966 for the Spin Out soundtrack, but this live version surpasses the studio recording in emotional authenticity. Accompanied only by acoustic guitar and bass, Elvis delivers the song with a vulnerability rarely heard in his more produced recordings. What makes this performance special is its intimacy. Elvis sings in his middle register, avoiding the dramatic high notes and vocal flourishes that characterized many of his performances. This restrained approach serves the lyrics perfectly, highlighting Dylan's poetic reflections on loneliness and longing. The setting for this recording was significant. During preparation for the NBC special, Elvis was rediscovering his musical roots after years of making formulaic movies. This performance represents Elvis connecting with contemporary songwriting at a pivotal moment in his career. By choosing a Dylan composition, he demonstrated awareness of the changing musical landscape and his desire to engage with it authentically. Elvis brings his own interpretation to the material rather than attempting to mimic Dylan's style. His natural vibrato and precise pitch control transform the song without sacrificing its essential melancholy. When he sings, "Yes, and only as she was lying by me. His voice contains a hint of his gospel training, adding spiritual depth to Dylan's secular lyrics. This overlooked performance matters because it reveals an Elvis rarely seen by the public, contemplative, musically curious, and capable of nuanced interpretation. For listeners who know Elvis primarily through his bigger, more theatrical performances, this quiet moment provides a glimpse of the artist behind the entertainment persona. Number 3. Hurt Chicago, 1976. Can a single high note define a performance? In Elvis's case, his spine-tingling rendition of Hurt from his October 1976 Chicago concert proves it can. While Elvis's 1976 to 77 performances are often dismissed by critics, focusing on his declining health, this particular recording captures the king still capable of extraordinary vocal power. Hurt, originally a 1954 hit for Timmy Euro and later recorded by Roy Orbison, might seem an unlikely choice for Elvis. The melodramatic ballad requires extreme vocal range and emotional commitment. Elvis first recorded it in the studio in early 1976, but the live Chicago version surpasses the studio recording in sheer intensity. What makes this performance remarkable is the contrast between Elvis's physical appearance and his vocal abilities. Though visibly heavier and moving more cautiously on stage than in earlier years, his voice remained a formidable instrument. The performance builds to an astonishing climax where Elvis holds a high note with such power and duration that audiences would typically rise to their feet in stunned appreciation. The arrangement supports this vocal showcase perfectly. Opening with restrained orchestral backing, the band gradually builds intensity throughout the song. By the dramatic conclusion, the full ensemble, including a sizable string section, creates a massive sound that Elvis's voice somehow still manages to soar above. This performance matters because it contradicts the simplistic narrative about Elvis's final years. While health problems and prescription medications certainly affected many performances from this period, Hurt demonstrates that Elvis could still deliver transcendent musical moments when fully engaged with the material. The recording serves as evidence that even in decline, Elvis possessed vocal capabilities that few pop singers could match. Released on various live compilations after Elvis's death, this performance has become a favorite among serious fans who appreciate Elvis's remarkable vocal technique. For more casual listeners, familiar only with his better-known hits, this overlooked gem reveals the extraordinary instrument that made Elvis Presley one of the most influential vocalists in popular music history. Number 2. I'm So Lonesome, I Could Cry. Houston, February 1970. How do you honor your musical heroes? Elvis paid tribute to Hank Williams with an achingly beautiful performance of I'm So Lonesome, I Could Cry. During a Houston concert in February 1970, this performance, captured on the album Elvis Country, shows Elvis connecting deeply with his country music influences at a pivotal moment in his career comeback. While Elvis Country is recognized as one of his stronger studio albums from the 1970s, this live track included on the original release offers something special. Recorded during the height of his performing renaissance, Elvis delivers Williams' country classic with profound understanding of its desolate, emotional landscape. What makes this performance extraordinary is its simplicity. Elvis introduces the song by acknowledging Hank Williams as probably the greatest writer of country songs that ever lived, establishing a tone of reverence. When he begins singing, his voice is stripped of the theatrical qualities that sometimes characterized his live shows of this period. Instead, he offers a direct, emotionally honest reading that honors Williams' original, while adding his own subtle touches. The band provides perfect accompaniment, with Charlie McCoy's harmonica adding authentic country flavor. James Burton's tasteful guitar fills employ his signature chicken pickin' technique to enhance the song's rural character. The rhythm section maintains a gentle pulse that allows Elvis's voice to float above the arrangement with melancholy beauty. This performance matters because it demonstrates Elvis's deep connection to country music, at a time when he was being embraced by mainstream pop audiences. By presenting this Hank Williams classic with such authenticity to an audience that might have expected more upbeat material, Elvis was making a statement about his musical values and influences. For listeners who know Elvis primarily as a rock and roll pioneer or a Las Vegas showman, this overlooked live recording reveals another dimension of his artistry. It connects the global superstar of 1970 directly to the Mississippi boy who grew up listening to country music on the Grand Ole Opry broadcasts. A reminder that beneath the jumpsuits and spectacle was an artist with genuine appreciation for American musical traditions. Number 1. Bridge Over Troubled Water. Las Vegas, February 1972. Can Elvis improve on a modern classic? His majestic interpretation of Simon and Garfunkel's Bridge Over Troubled Water during his February 1972 Las Vegas engagement suggests he could. While Elvis released a studio version of this song on his 1970 album, That's the Way It Is, this live performance elevates the material to new emotional heights. Released as part of the An Afternoon in the Garden album, recorded at Madison Square Garden but released decades later, many fans overlooked this performance in favor of more up-tempo numbers. That's unfortunate, because this rendition inks Elvis at his interpretive best. What makes this performance special is Elvis's phrasing and dynamic control. He begins with restrained tenderness, allowing the song's comforting message to emerge naturally. As the arrangement builds, Elvis gradually increases his vocal intensity, culminating in a powerful delivery of the final chorus that transforms the intimate folk ballad into a spiritual declaration. The backing musicians provide perfect support, with the orchestra adding dramatic swells without overwhelming the performance. The rhythm section maintains a gospel-influenced groove that connects Simon's contemporary composition to the church, music that shaped Elvis's earliest musical experiences. This performance represents Elvis's gift for finding common ground between seemingly disparate musical traditions. He approaches the song with both the intimacy of folk music and the emotional crescendos of gospel, creating something uniquely powerful. When he hits the climactic high notes, there's an almost religious fervor that transcends the concert setting. Part of what makes this version significant is its timing. Recorded when Elvis was still in strong physical and vocal condition, it captures him applying his mature interpretive abilities to contemporary material worthy of his talents. For listeners who associate Elvis's 1970s performances primarily with Vegas, glitz, or his declining health in later years, this overlooked recording offers evidence of his continued artistic growth. The performance also matters because it demonstrates Elvis's ongoing engagement with current music. By selecting this Simon and Garfunkel hit, Elvis showed that despite his status as an established icon, he remained connected to evolving musical trends and recognized quality songwriting across generational lines. Did Elvis leave behind more hidden gems we've yet to fully appreciate? Have we been so focused on his biggest hits and most famous concerts that we've missed the quieter moments of brilliance